What's up everyone, thank you for stopping by and checking out another video. Today we're going to be reviewing the FeiyuTech G6 Max. Now this is a very compact gimbal. It's about half the size of my FeiyuTech AK 4500. So in terms of payload, it's clearly going to be able to carry less of a load than the AK 4500. However, I really think there's some value in this gimbal simply because of everything that it can do for such a small and compact size gimbal. Alright, so the FeiyuTech G6 Max is able to support a variety of devices. It can support your mobile phone, your iPhone, your Samsung. It can support your GoPro, your Insta360. It can even support your mirrorless cameras or even your DSLR cameras. Now, DSLR is going to be a little tricky simply because of the weight of it. So a couple of cameras that come to mind whenever I think about the size and compatibility that the G6 Max will be able to support is going to be the cameras like the Canon SL2 or the SL3, or if depending on where you are, that could be the 200D or the I want to say 350 or 250D. So the SL2 or the SL3 might be able to balance on the G6 Max. Mirrorless cameras though, should be able to support almost all of Sony's crop sensor cameras, and then I think I've even seen videos of the Sony A7S or the A7 II being able to balance on the G6 Max. So behind me you can see right here, this is the Canon RP, the EOS RP, and I have it paired with a 50mm lens, and it is able to balance on the G6 Max. If I had a 24mm lens, I think that would be more ideal simply because it'll get a little bit wider of a field of view. However, I don't own that lens yet, and I'm kind of up in the air on what I want to pair this setup with, but it is able to balance and it is able to support this camera. A couple of tricks if you do get this gimbal to pair with your Canon EOS RP, you're going to need to remove the battery grip or the just the extra extension grip that you have on your RP if you have one, and you'll also need to make sure you pair it with a lightweight lens. So being that this is a full frame camera, you need to be very cautious about the lens or the glass that you use on this camera whenever you're using the G6 Max. So that's why I've chose to use the 50mm lens right now, simply because it's the lightest lens that I have. It's also the most the shortest lens that I have. So a couple of specs about the FeiyuTech G6 Max. It weighs just under 700 grams, and if you're in the US, that's just under 1.5 pounds. So it's pretty inexpensive for everything that you're going to get with it. So you're going to get the gimbal, you're going to get a mount or a tripod mount for it, you're going to get the action camera mount, you're also going to get a smartphone mount, and then you're going to get all of the wires and accessories that come with your gimbals to kind of pair it and control your camera within the gimbal. And you're going to only pay $230. Okay, so I kind of want to walk you through on how to balance your gimbal properly, as well as a couple of tips and tricks on how to get the best performance out of your gimbal. Okay, so first things first, whenever you're pairing your gimbal, I would highly recommend you use the tripod mount that it comes with and sit your gimbal on a even surface or a flat surface, and that way just it makes balancing it a lot easier. So FeiyuTech is great at adding the locking mechanisms on each axis, and that way you can basically balance each axis properly and not have to worry about one moving or anything like that. So after you have the tripod mount attached to your gimbal and you have it sitting on a flat surface, you can actually go ahead and take the mounting plate that comes inside of the case, and you're going to connect it to your camera. You might have to move this around once you get it on the gimbal itself, but go ahead and put it in a fairly even location, and then you're just going to slide the mount onto the gimbal, and that'll look something like this. And then there's a lock, and you just want to kind of pull down on the locking mechanism. Okay, so once you have your mounting plate on, then like I said, make sure all of your axes are locked. If you're taking it out of the case for the first time, however, all of your axes should be locked. Something that I'm not too fond of that FeiyuTech added onto this gimbal that they did not do on the AK 4500 is they actually made this switch right here, unlock, is to push up, whereas on all of the others, such as this one and this one over here, the unlock is to push down. So I don't like how they switched it. I wish they would have made all of the locking mechanisms go the exact same way, such as if it's all unlocked, then you want them all to go up or you want them all to go down, and vice versa for lock. So I'm not too fond of that because Again, this one is different than the other two. So after you have all of your access secured and locked or unlocked, depending on how you're mounting this, you can start at the top right here. You want to unlock it. So this right here is where you're going to start to balance it, and you want to put the camera facing straight up. You want the lens facing up and the back side of it facing down. You just want to see it like this. And whenever you get it like that, you want it as even as you can, and then you just want to tighten down on the knob right here. If you need to move it around or anything like that, just loosen up on this knob, and you'll be able to kind of slide the plate or the railing system until it's balanced. Once you have that side balanced, you want to just simply lock it into place, and then you want to come down to the next axis, which is this one right here, and the locking mechanism is right here, so you're just going to unlock it just like that. And then you want to repeat the same process. You just want to untighten this right here, slide your rail, and I'll demonstrate. So you can slide the rail just like that, or you can pull it back. So I had mine right there, and should still be balanced, pretty close. And then the last axis right here, you're actually going to need all of these unlocked in order to get a proper balance. And so once you have it all, or the other two unlocked, you want to flip this one, unlock this one, and in order to balance this axis, you're going to roll your whole gimbal sideways like this. Whenever you have it properly balanced right here, then your camera should roll and tilt evenly without it spinning like mine is right now. After you have your gimbal properly balanced with your camera, then you're just going to hold the power button. Do not tap it. You want to hold it until the screen basically fills up with the FT for FeiyuTech. So there's a couple different features that you're going to see right here on the screen. It's not touchscreen like my AK-4500 is, but that's okay because it still is packed with a good amount of features inside of it. So if your camera is able to connect to the gimbal, then you can use this right here, and this is basically just going to stop recording and start recording. If it can connect, you can also use this right here to switch between photo as well as video on your camera. The next button up here is going to be, or on this right hand side, is going to be your mode button. So a couple of different modes that it's going to have. It's going to have pan follow, tilt follow, and then all lock. I'm going to show you kind of how to cycle those different modes right now. So your mode button right here, which is going to be on the bottom right, if you just press it, you'll start cycling through the modes. You'll go into lock mode, you'll go into pan follow mode, and then if you double tap it, you'll go into tilt follow mode. So that's just a couple of different modes. If you ever want to rebalance your gimbal, you just give it a double tap on the trigger. If you ever want to go into selfie mode, you just triple tap, and the camera will automatically turn around and face you. So this is great for vlogging. You'll be able to basically just hold it out like that. If you're going to intend on vlogging or anything like that, and if your camera supports it, then I would go ahead and balance the camera on the gimbal with the screen in that proper location. This is a great tool to use, especially if you're just trying to get into this, and if you want something that's very compact or low profile. If you ever want to get out of the vlogging style mode, then you're just going to double tap, and this is basically going to be in every case scenario. If you ever want to re-center the gimbal, then you just double tap that trigger and you're back to where you need to be. It also comes with your knob right here. You can cycle through different modes, same thing as you can on the gimbal itself. You can control this, the camera and the gimbal. I have it on roll control right now, and you can see that my camera starts to roll. Just like that. Let's go ahead and take it into tilt control, and you can see my camera goes up and down just like that. So pretty cool features right there. Basically what it feels like to me, being that I use the AK-4500 for all of my client work, it really feels like they took that gimbal and they put it into a more compact size gimbal, and basically made it available for a variety of devices such as mirrorless cameras, action cameras, as well as cell phones. So being that this gimbal folds up to a very compact size and it's able to hold and manage the Canon EOS RP, it is probably going to be a camera that I just take whenever I'm out and about and I just want to kind of document stuff. I'm not going to use this camera for client work, so if that's your intentions, then I would kind of steer away from this one and maybe go to the AK-4000 or even the AK-4500, depending on your camera setup and such like that. But being that this, like I said, this gimbal is very compact and it can hold what I need it to hold, then I don't see a problem with using it for an everyday basis whenever I'm just out shooting, or like I said, wanting to document maybe a behind the scenes or something like that. So if you have any questions about this gimbal, please feel free to ask them down in the comment section below. I'm working on really just comparing every gimbal that I have. So all in all, guys, I have 7 different gimbals. I have one for my professional projects or my client work. I have another one that I like to use. It's a little bit smaller, and that's whenever I'm using a smaller setup, a camera setup. And then I have 2 different mobile gimbals, and then I have 2 different foldable mobile gimbals. If you want to see any of those videos, I'm going to leave them down in the description below. But I'm going to actually tag the FeiyuTech AK 4500 first, and that'll be the bigger brother of this one right here. That way you can see exactly what I mean whenever I say they took everything on that gimbal and they pretty much just put it into this one. Again, everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them down in the comment section below. If you like this style of content, please consider subscribing. I'm at around 702 subscribers, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. So please help me get there. All the love is much appreciated. As always, guys, I'm going to see you in the next one. Later.